All right, welcome in, everybody. It is the game. It is that week. Everyone's had November 25th circled on their calendars for a long, long time. Well, we don't have to wait any longer because it's finally here, and we're excited to kick it off here with our guest, our guy, Mikey Sainristil. Of course, this is the Lab presented by Champion Circle. Head over to championscircleufm.com to support your student athletes. And really, another good way is, I think, what I want to lead in here too is the Michigan versus everybody mindset. And I didn't even know this. So the Michigan versus everybody shirts, when you buy those shirts, you see the guys wearing them. Those go actually, the proceeds from those shirts go back as an NIL deal to everybody too. So it's really cool for you guys listening to this. Check out, see if you can buy some of that merch at the M Den. It's the Michigan versus everybody. But Mikey, let's just start there, man. Michigan versus everybody. There's not a week on the schedule where that applies any more than what you guys have this week in the game, the big time rivalry, man. What's the consensus? It's finally here. How you feeling?
Excited, ready to attack this opportunity with the fellas. It's everything we've been preparing for. It's everything that, the seniors, the leaders, the fifth and sixth years, it's everything we came back for. Even, the fourth year senior guys, this is what we came back for. And this is what we've been pouring into all year long.
Does it feel like that, where it's just kind of you guys versus the world at this point?
Yeah, for sure. It's like, we've always had the mindset that, none of the outside voices matter. Only voices that matter are the ones inside of Schembecker Hall. People talk about us more than we talk about us, and that's fine. Coach Harbaugh says, early in the year, he says, things are starting to buzz around here. He asks us, can we feel it? And then, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Is people talk about you guys more than you guys talk about you guys. You guys have been focused on the mission, of course. That's for all of us on the outside of the program. But the way you guys have handled, the expectations this season, a lot of that outside noise, the buzz, as you said it's been really impressive. And of course, that's been a big piece of the sustained success. Sustained success is the theme, because you guys just became the first program to 1,000 wins this past weekend. I mean, it's just what a remarkable accomplishment. The game, and you're doing it the game before the big rivalry. What was the locker room like post game, man? 1,000 wins, first to do it. That's really special.
It felt great, just seeing the guys in there happy. Turned up, like 1,000 wins, like that's huge. That's major, and to be a part of the team to actually do that, and like Team 144 is going to go down in history of Michigan football, and just
Yeah.
to know that, like, I'm a part of a group of guys that contributed to that is such an honor.
Oh, no doubt. Did you guys get like t-shirts or hoodies or anything like that to kind of recognize the moment, or what, they hand you any gear out after the game?
Yeah, we got t-shirts and hats.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check those out. Just getting caught up on some of the things. I was traveling this weekend myself. So congratulations, man. 1,000 wins. You're right. Team 144s will be remembered. But of course, I think there's bigger goals at hand here, right? It's not about the 1,000th win. It's a chance to go to 1,001. And I just kind of am curious, man, just for the viewers at home, you're coming off a close game with Maryland, and you hear the word trap game a little, thrown around. I think Maryland's a pretty damn good football team, underrated. They've hit a tough stretch here in the season, but I wanted to ask you, like, do you think the trap game is real? Do you think that's overplayed a little bit? What's your kind of thoughts on, the challenge of playing that game the week before the game?
I would just say the trap game is whatever the team that's being trapped lets it be. I feel like we had a fast start offensively, defensively, and on special teams, but through the course of the game, we lacked consistency in what we were doing. We couldn't get some things done on offense. On defense, we were letting up big plays. Special teams held everything down for sure.
Mhm.
Um, but we definitely allowed a team like Maryland who has great athletes, who has great coaches. But a team like Maryland, if you don't jump out on them fast, they will find a way to, keep the game alive and,
Yeah,
potentially beat you. And,
yeah.
kind of like last year against Illinois, a team that, you look at our records, you probably thought we were going to go out there and, handle business the way it should have been handled. But, they came out, we allowed them to stay in the game. They take advantage of our mistakes. They stayed in the game and it came down to, a game winning field goal for us. Um, but, I think, the week before the game itself, going in to Maryland and, being them on the road, their last home game, just being able to win the way we did, being battle tested how we were, and like to just be able to stay together, win together, and just, pull out of there is huge for us.
I know, man. Listen, I know it from my time. It's just anytime you're playing a football team, your opponent, they understand like their season can be made just by beating Michigan, right? They every team gives you guys their best shot because of the potential joy to say, yeah, we beat Michigan, we ruined their perfect season, and you got Maryland's best shot. Shoot, senior night, right? The emotions of that, like they get a little boost from it, and they held strong and they challenged you guys. You had a great day, man. Correct? You had 2 interceptions on the day, right?
Yep.
2 big time plays. Which one was your favorite?
Um, well, the first one probably would have been my favorite if I was able to keep the elbow an inch higher off the ground.
Hmm.
But the second one, just for the ability to track the ball in the air like that, is huge for any DB, not just myself.
Yeah.
Like scouts would look at guys who know how to track the football.
Mhm.
Um, and I think that was huge that I was able to do it that way and come down with it.
I'm curious if you can kind of like just for our viewers that maybe are just maybe learning football or don't know the intricacies that well. Could you talk about what goes into an interception? I mean, of course, tracking the football, right? But what about the pre-snap? Like what's going through your head? I think about the Rutgers interception when you read Wimsit and you triggered on it. If you could kind of break it down in a way, maybe a beginner could understand of some of the things that go into an interception, starting with the play call, the pre-snap, and then reading things post-snap before you finally trigger and make the play.
Yeah, so from my mind, how it was working was I knew Maryland was in a backed up situation. We got our call. We were in cover three. It was third and long, so we knew that they were either gonna take a shot deep or try to find a way to get themselves closer to the sticks to avoid a potential punt from the 2 yard line, 3 yard line. Um, and being a player who played for Coach Gaddis at the receiver position, in my mind, I knew that in backed up situations, what we did when we were here was we did take a shot. We did take a play to potentially catch the DBs
Mhm,
sleeping. Or
mhm.
um, so in my head, I knew I was like, okay, something deep is probably going to come in with Talia back there. Their quarterback who has great arm talent, um, and they have great receivers as well. It was just, the perfect scenario to, just see like, okay, yeah, they're probably definitely gonna take a shot.
Mhm.
So, I'm in cover three, splitting my zone, my third. Um, I'm reading between two and one, both vertical. I get my eyes back around. I see the ball thrown. I get my eyes to one. I flipped over my left shoulder. Um, and I saw the ball wasn't like as close because I was looking at his eyes, and I was able to turn around one more time and I saw the ball finally dropping into my hands, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, this is mine." We got it.
Yeah. So you're talking. All right. So you're in cover three, right? So like, hey, like just hey, cover one. If you think about it, like the one, the two, the three, that's for the safeties, or really just the back end of the defense. Cover one, there's one guy in the middle of the field. Cover two, there's two guys back, so they're split in the halves. Cover three, there each person has a third, a third, a third. There's three deep men, and you said you're splitting one and two. Do you remember watching what is it? L.A.B, right? The Seahawks, they play cover three. And Richard Sherman, I think, was like the first one I remember really talking about that, where he would cheat that third and he would kind of lean into the field a little bit. And you mentioned number one and number two are both going vertical. So in your deep third, you have two verticals that you have to defend, right? And you're playing off both of them. Are you trying to bait Talia into throwing one, thinking maybe he's got something outside at this point?
I definitely would say with showing body presence over two kind of does give the deception of one being a little bit more open, but if you have enough depth in your zone, then you could speed turn and
Mhm.
potentially make a play on the ball, and the depth does allow you to be able to make a play on if the seam is open. So um, I don't think I was necessarily trying to bait him.
Yeah.
I was just doing my responsibility, and
Yeah.
play came to me.
Do you lean on? I mean, I gotta imagine as I'm listening to you talk, just the receiver background, like understanding, what the offense is trying to accomplish and why routes are paired together. I'd imagine it gives you an advantage at times in your position now on defense. Just understanding the why of the route concepts and why they match together and how you can kind of read that in this case, being an example.
Yeah, definitely. I would say I wouldn't say it gives me an advantage, but it definitely allows me, to think further ahead, think deeper into
Yeah.
what's potentially going to happen, and then when I look at the defensive side of things, like okay, in this coverage, this is the weakness. Because this is the weakness, these are the routes that we're going to get.
Yeah.
And so just putting all that together and being able to switch sides of the ball just allows me to just think more and see the bigger picture of everything.
Mhm. So after a turnover, that means it's turnover buff time, right?
Cartier time.
So what's the turnover buffs? Just for someone that may not know, we see it on the sidelines, we see the highlights. What's the turnover buffs and when did those start?
So turnover buffs are Cartier glasses. The reason they're called buffs is because the frame on the side is buffalo skin. That's what it's made of,
Mm,
buffalo skin.
I didn't know
And
that.
I'm pretty sure it was started in Detroit. It's a huge Detroit thing where people wear buffs out here. It started with for us. It started with 22 Will Johnson. He asked the defense. He was like, there's people who do turnover chains, turnover coats. Because we're in Michigan, it would be a cool idea to do turnover buffs. And we're all like, oh yeah, that's dope. Let's do that.
And it's really kind of exploded now. I mean, we even got Coach Harbaugh involved earlier in the season with Minnesota. It's become a fun thing for you guys. And it's a great thing. Is it fair to say like that's one of the better moments? Like, of course, you celebrate all. Coach Harbaugh would always say celebrate all wins together, but on offense, you get to celebrate in the end zone together. But for the defense, like this is the point of pride, right? When you can have a turnover anytime someone gets a turnover, it's a unit wide celebration, right?
Yeah. So um, I'm pretty sure you guys have seen where we do the picture on the sideline.
Yeah.
That started in 21 and either the end of spring or sometime during camp where we were just finding ways to make practice more competitive, and just learn how to be a team, celebrate together, things like that.
Mhm.
And so the defensive coaches at the time said whenever there's a turnover in practice, everyone run down to a certain spot, and the guy who caused a turnover or whatever stay in the middle. Rest of the defense get around him, and we're gonna do a turnover flick.
Mhm.
That's when that started, and then we just carried that on, up until this point. And last year we added the buffs.
It's just something real subtle, man, where what you're really talking about, you said learning how to be a team, right? Learning how to celebrate together. I think back to that 2021 season, and we'll talk about it because of the context of the game this year, where you're playing, you got the number 2 team in the country versus the number 3 team in the country. But 2021, you guys weren't even ranked. That's spring ball. There was external pressure of saying, wondering, I mean, what happened? It wasn't good enough. The team wasn't good enough. And yet the mentality of you guys at that point in time was just to work, and it seems like foundations were laid back then, that kind of seeds were planted, and you've been able to slow. Now's the season to pick the fruit, right? You planted the seed, now it's time to pick the fruit. What changed really that spring, would you say? Can you put your thumb on it to say what were some of the areas that were emphasized in that spring that allow you guys to have the success you're having today?
It started with, you know, in that off season, our very first workout, guys came in and were wondering, if Coach Harbaugh's staying, if Coach Harbaugh's leaving. Um, and then right then and there, Coach Herb, called up the team and said, none of that matters.
Mm,
And from that point on, just having the mindset that anything can change, anything, like literally anything, the weather, how you're feeling, um, staff changes, like anything you could think of. If it's something that's not in your control, then why are you going to let it affect you? All you can do is, you know, rub it off and just, do what you do, be who you are.
mhm. It seems like Herb is just every time I talk to you or any of the guys, like Herb's name comes up as just an integral part. And the principle of saying, none of it matters, of just basically saying, guys, like what you said, the weather, anything external, if you can't control it. I know he had you guys like jump in an ice bath fully clothed and then do a workout. And really just what he's trying to say is, guys, like it's all it is about you. If you just focus on the process, if you do the right thing right now, make the right choices right now, you do that day after day after day, it's going to add up to a lot. And all of a sudden, you're going to have a massive stack of hard work and proof of the culture you've built and the effort you've put in that allows you to play with confidence, I imagine, right? Like going into a week like this, a big time matchup, I'd imagine like all these years of dedication, it allows you guys to be confident. I mean, I'm sure some fans are nervous, right? But for you guys, because of everything just mentioned, you've earned the right effectively to be confident this week.
Yeah, for sure. When you take a moment, just look back at everything you've been through with who you've been through it. Um, all the work that's been put in, all the time, all the days where you didn't want to do something, but you did it anyways. Like all of that plays a factor into, a week like this. And
Mhm.
it's just one of those, one of these times where it's like, all that stuff gets paid forward and um, just respect the game of football.
Do you remember? So now you've been in Ann Arbor for a while. I believe this is your fifth year, right?
Yep.
2019 was your freshman year. What do you remember about this week that year?
Um, just the automatic intensity level, like just it just feels like the air is different. Um,
Mhm.
and it's like a natural way of everybody's, like, you don't get tight in a sense, but you just have a lot more urgency in everything it is you do that week. And it just happens naturally because of the nature of this game.
Yeah, there's just like that's what Blake said last week too. Is just there's just like this infinite well of energy you can tap into this week because of everything, right? Um, Did you really know did you have an idea of what the game was gonna be like back in 2019? Like, you said you could feel it in the air, but, did you really know what you were walking into when Saturday finally came around? Do you remember what that first game experience was like being in the stadium?
Oh, it was electric. Um, I was younger. I was a freshman, of course, but I was ready for whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, more so, I was more so ready for. I was less worried about football than than I was about talking trash and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the younger version of me. Uh,
Yeah.
but I enjoyed that experience.
For sure.
I was out there ready to back my guys up. Ready for an opportunity if it came to me in that game. But just looking back, like my first game against Ohio State was at home in 2019. My last game against Ohio State is at home in 2023. So I'm
Man.
just super excited to go out there with my teammates and take this opportunity on.
Yeah, man, what a journey. So let's work our way there. We just talked about 2019. 2020 was COVID year, right? 2021 was kind of the year that it definitely was the year that changed the trajectory of Michigan football. And it changed the trajectory of this rivalry as well. So you guys are at home. Beautiful football day, man. The snow, just the perfect amount of snow falling. You're playing CJ Stroud and a bunch of elite receivers. a great football team. And what was that week like? Because at that point in time, the whole world was still picking Ohio State. Everyone still said, well, Michigan's a damn good team, sure, but we haven't seen them beat them. They don't beat Ohio State. Do you remember what that week was like? Did anything change where you guys said, did you feel it? Did you know, hey, this is our year, we're going to get it done?
Honestly, like a lot of us felt that way from the beginning of the season, just because like the way the team bonded, the camaraderie we had. We felt like we were a complete football team, and to play against a team like Ohio State, that's what it takes, a complete football team. No, not no individual. It takes all 11 men on all three phases of the game to beat a team like Ohio State. And
Mm-hmm.
we felt that we had the leaders, we had the talent, and we had great coaches who had a great game plan set out for us. And when coaches can say whatever they want, but until the leaders can get their guys to go out there, play hard, um, play with intensity, play with effort, and then just go out there and have your teammates execute, and while executing, trust in each other, um, then nothing the coaches say matter until that within itself is possible.
I feel there's a psychological aspect to this, man, because, of course, every game, I mean, I never beat Ohio State, but I can tell you every game, every time we played them, I felt confident we were going to win. Like I believed genuinely and truly to my core that we were going to win until the final whistle blew. But, I had no proof at that point. We didn't win. For you guys, you overcame that psychological aspect in 2021. Does that play a factor at all, do you think? Like, it's like now, I mean, first off, you did it once, then you did it twice last year. Now you're chasing 3 in a row. Do you think that benefits you guys, the fact that you do have proof that you are the team and the group and the unit that can do it because you have proven you've done it?
Um, you know, I would say yes to a certain extent. I never, I don't think personally I think about it that way, or to that extent. I guess for um, people, or players after us, like, yeah, it's been done. It can be done, but it's more so about what's been put into it for it to be done.
Mhm. Mhm. So 2022, you guys are then on the road in Columbus, and of course, you mentioned, okay, so you started your career versus Ohio State at home. 2021 was at home. This year will be at home versus Ohio State. 2022 was on the road. What's different about the rivalry when you are in Columbus on the road? Like, what was different about that game last year?
Um, just knowing that things might not go your way.
Mhm.
Uh, and that's one of the things that fall under the category of control what you can control. Don't let no external factor affect you. Um, there's going to be momentum swings, but this year, one thing we've spoken about a lot is, one team might have momentum, um, and if you're like we said, again, going into Penn State, just to go off track real quick, we said like a game like Penn State, momentum can shift. We can have the momentum, they could get the momentum, or we can have the momentum, lose the momentum. That doesn't mean that they gain the momentum.
Mm.
And when we played Ohio State last year, there were definitely momentum shifts, like a lot in that game. But it came down to who can capitalize the most when it mattered. Um, and going into that environment with those fans, it was awesome. It was awesome.
Mhm.
It was awesome.
That is such a good point, man. And gosh, the emotions of that game, the momentum. You said it earlier about how you can just kind of feel it in the air. You can almost feel it's almost like gravity, like an invisible force. When a play gets made, just this shift in energy. And of course, I thought it's a great point because momentum isn't like it's not just always we have the momentum or they have the momentum. Sometimes there's a little ebb and flow, and the game's kind of waiting for someone to seize it. It's not always even for you about having like finding a way to generate momentum. Sometimes you got to survive their momentum. Sometimes it's just about settling in and not trying to do anything too crazy. And I think about that because there was a big play when we talk about momentum in that game. Maybe one of the better plays I remember seeing in recent history from the rivalry. You had a pass breakup on Cade Stover in the end zone. And the way that play started, I urge people to go back that are watching this, go search Mikey Sainristil, PPU, Cade Stover, 2022. Go search it because it's unbelievable. You were kind of behind the eight ball a little bit when that play happened. You really had to scramble and hustle to make the play. Can you walk us through? I know you did a good job earlier. Can you walk us through the basics and the fundamentals of what happened on that play?
Yeah, so it was, 12 personnel. We kept our nickel package out there. So that means, I'm gonna take a tight end. I lined up on Case Stover and Ohio State, or, their play call, they have him, chip block a lot. Which, I personally wasn't prepared for. I thought he was just regularly blocking. So I was looking to add on to the pressure. And out the corner of my eye, I saw him, going up the field. I'm like, oh man. Like I thought I was toast, you know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
thought he was gone. And only thing in my mind was just hustle, get to him as fast as possible. However, um, and then, I saw the ball get thrown and I saw, it was kind of floated in the air a little bit. And I was able to make a play, through his hands. Just not panicking, just trusting my technique. But, all the credit to that play,
Yeah,
I would give that to the D line and, Chris Jenkins, if he wasn't there to, give, apply pressure on CJ Stroud, I 100% believe that would have been a on time, accurate throw.
yeah,
It still was accurate throw,
yeah.
but on time touchdown for sure.
Yeah, it hung in the air just long enough for you to be able to get there, right? It
Yep.
was like a what the Y high play a little bit, right? Where the initial 1 count, 2 count, he's kind of blocking, and then it's a good play design,
Yeah.
really. That's a popular play design for the tight ends. Okay, so then as we wind down here, man, it's the game this year. What as you sit here, we're having this conversation on Sunday. How do you put it into words, everything we just talked about, 2019 as a freshman to now 2023? The kind of sun is setting on your time in your career here at Michigan, and it's coming to a head in one of maybe the most hyped up matchups in the history of this rivalry, in the history maybe of college football as a whole.
Yep.
How do you put that into words? What is that like to go through and kind of preview this week and prepare for that kind of game?
Um, I'll just say, the journey's been long, um, definitely long, but it's been fun. I've enjoyed, every step. Every year is just, a different stepping stone, a different learning experience. Um, and just trust the process. Not everything's gonna go how you want it to. Um, but some things happen for a reason, and you just gotta stick to it, stay the course. Um, but to for my journey to be ending this way, here at the university is great. It's great, and I wouldn't want it to end no other way. This is what I came back for. To put that final exclamation mark on was what I've been blessed to be a part of here at Michigan. Um, and I wouldn't want to do it with any other group of guys. I
Mm,
love my teammates. I love my coaches. The bond that we have, the bond that we've been able to form. Um, you'll never get this nowhere else,
yeah.
ever. And if I could carry this with me the rest of my life, I would definitely.
Senior night too, right?
Yeah,
What's that mean?
it's the last one in the big house.
Yeah.
Literally the last one for me, at least. For a good amount of us, it's the last one in the big house. Um, and I'm just ready to cherish every single moment from waking up today to going to sleep Saturday night, or
Yeah.
waking up tomorrow to going to sleep to Saturday night.
You think you might shed a tear or anything like that?
I don't know. I'm not a big crier.
Yeah.
I'm not a big crier, but who knows what'll happen.
I'm not either, but I'll tell you what, and not a lot of guys were, but they were playing some like Adele, like that song where she's like, "I'll rise up," and it's got like all the pictures like through the years. I'm like, dang man, it got me choked up a little bit pregame. So, all right, last question for you. This is kind of a little bit of a fun one, but just what would you tell a freshman? So you got some freshmen on the team. What would you tell one of them about this game? Like, what should they know about what they're walking into this weekend?
Um, just think about, whatever stage of life it is for you or it was for you, like your biggest competitor, the person the team, or whatever it may be that you always wanted to beat, and whatever it is, you always wanted to win against, you always wanted to go your hardest against. Just think about that times 1,000
Mm,
with, fans, um, with, uncontrollable noise, with, you know, just not pressure, but that level of intensity we were talking about. And, just, be ready to make a play if it comes to you, or if you have the opportunity to do so. Because in a game like this, one, legends are made, but your name
mhm,
will be, in history for the right reason or the wrong reason.
yeah.
And, you have the ability to decide which reason that is.
100%, man. Exactly right. This is the game that you'll be remembered for. I know, the NFL scouts, here's the truth. They say when they're trying to scout a Michigan player, they turn on this tape right away. First, second, and third, they're going to watch this 3 times before they watch another tape. So, being ready for the moment, man, there's no doubt in my mind you will be. And I can't wait to watch you guys take the field. Of course, this is that week, right? So it is the game, and for the viewers, we kind of previewed it. Go get you a Michigan versus everybody shirt. One, because it goes back to the student athletes. You're supporting them. The proceeds of that shirt do fund NIL deals. But the other thing is, it's Michigan versus everybody week anyways. So go support Mikey, support the guys, and rock your shirt for the game this weekend. Mikey, man, thanks so much for your time. Can't wait to watch you take the field, man. Go get some rest and go get them this weekend.
Appreciate you, Jake.